What is up, everyone? I'm Jeff Lund, and this is the Mediocre Alaskan Podcast. It is Wednesday afternoon, and man, I am exhausted. I did not sleep very well last night because I could not get elk off the brain. It was one of those things where I was dreaming about elk, and then I would wake up because of the dream, and then I couldn't get back to sleep because I was thinking about elk. The reason I'm thinking about elk is it is time to put in for the Wyoming draw for elk. They separate it so you do not all the draws at the same time. You put in for elk first, and you have to put in all the money for the entire thing. So it's like I'm buying an elk tag, but if I don't get it, then it gets reimbursed. So they hold on to it for a little bit. But I guess there's something in there that they can't make interest off the money that they hold for 2 months or whatever it is. Anyway, so once I find out about the elk, then I can put in for antelope or mule deer or anything like that if I decide to, which I won't if I draw the elk. If I don't draw the elk, then I will put in for probably mule deer and antelope, or maybe just antelope. I don't know. Cody Rich, I've been listening to his podcast, the Rich Outdoors podcast, and he was talking about buying experiences and not gear. And so one of the reasons why I can kind of afford this is because I've really tried to put a strain on, or not put a strain on the budget, and instead focus on what do I absolutely need and not buying gear. And I'm pretty set up at this point. But you can always convince yourself to buy more stuff, man. And so when I'm looking at the price of these tags, I'm thinking, well, if I save some money, man, this tag is not that expensive. And I'm talking about a cow elk tag, because I know I'm not going to draw it, but it'd be a lot more difficult to draw a bull elk tag. And I don't want to draw a bull elk tag, spend $800 or whatever that is, go down there, not have much elk experience, and then eat that tag, because that's stinking expensive. So what I'm thinking about doing, and what I'm going to do, is I'm going to put in for a cow elk tag in an area that Abby and I went and kind of looked around, and we saw some cow elk there when she was finishing up her hunts, and she was hunting a general tag with archery, and then she ended up getting one with the rifle. So I know it sounds super confusing, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in for cow elk. If I draw it, I'm going to hunt it archery, which is September. That's the plan. Because as Cody Rich also says, get at bats, get that experience of going out after elk. And so if I get some experience of hunting elk, and then I want to drop some serious coin on maybe drawing a different elk tag later on, or spend some points on that, then I'm going after a bull elk, and I have a better chance because I know how to hunt them. But I can't imagine putting all that money into, especially like an archery, man. If I wanted to go down there archery in September when the weather's a little bit better, and I wanted to try to archery tag elk, and I've never hunted elk before, that's just a recipe for eating a huge tag. You get romantic about it, and you think about, well, if you're going to do it, do it right. But man, I think playing the long game and get as much experience as possible with hunting elk and calling and getting used to that, then going down there, and when I'm ready, I've hunted elk before, then try to go get that bull and work up to it. That's the plan. I'm probably not going to draw that anyway, but that still has been what I've been thinking about, because the 31st is the last day to put in for that Wyoming tag. And it's kind of funny that I'm into this because, Southeast Alaska, there's plenty of stuff for us to hunt anyway. We got deer, we got black bear. There's some over-the-counter mountain goat tags. There's also the draw mountain goat tag that I put in for, which I will also not draw. And then there's some other areas where you can go over-the-counter moose and elk, or not elk, but moose and caribou, and anything you could ever want just was over-the-counter, just a matter of traveling to those spots. So there's plenty to do. If I don't draw one of those, it's going to be fine, but it's just fun to kind of be involved in that and kind of be, at first the travel hunters, I thought, well, why are you spending so much money to go do that? But there really is something to that experience and going somewhere else and seeing that different terrain. And it's just fun. It's different to explore new things. I love the routine. I love hunting blacktail in the alpine and then hunting them during rut. Man, it's great. It's such great quality meat, and it's so much fun. But when I was down there hunting antelope with Abby on the plains with zero trees, it was crazy, but it was fun. It was a different experience, and that was getting those experiences is awesome, and it's definitely something worth saving for. And I haven't been a good saver, man. I was the guy in college and then shortly after college where I was just putting money on the card because I thought I was entitled to experiences. And then when I first started teaching, I was making less money each year because the price of insurance and cost of living was going up. And so it wasn't until like my 5th year teaching in California that I started to make a little bit more money.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
So I was spending, and it was hard to get around to places. Every weekend I wanted to go out, to try to catch some trout, but you're spending a tank of gas to get somewhere that wasn't even really that good. And so to get somewhere that was pretty good, and you were alone and you were isolated, and this is me growing up in Southeast Alaska, trying to find like real solitude, not like California solitude. And, so it's been a lot of small fortune driving places, getting campgrounds, some places getting hotels. It's a lot of miles to put on there. So, and I was irresponsible, and that was part of it too. I been a rod, and I went to those shows. And this is the show season, right? You go down to the fly fishing show or the expo, and all the people from all over the place are displaying there, and they're booking their 2020 and their 2021 adventures at their lodges and whatnot. And I would go to those and walk around knowing that I would never do one of those. But I would like to, but I want to go to one of the local places. When you go to those spots and they talk about the property and the person who's representing that property has never actually been there, and the property's in Alaska, but the headquarters for the corporation that owns it is in like Austin, and you're like, dude, what's going on here, right? If I'm going to go to a spot, I want local people working it. Some of the local lodges on Prince of Wales by where I grew up, you go to the Fireweed Lodge and it's locally owned, and the kids who are cutting the fish are locals, and the guides have been there for a long time, and they're local. Some of them aren't, but they've been there for like 20 years. It's not like some guy who's up there who's doing the Alaska thing who then brags about, I'm pretty much a local, because they've been there for 5 years. Well, you've been there for 3 months per year times 5 years. That's 15 months. That's only like a year and change. So I just want that local experience, and then putting money into the local economy, the local hands. That's a lot of fun. So I'd go this time of year. I'd go and I'd walk around those sort of things when I lived in California. But now that I'm home, it's so much fun to live it. And I am spoiled, but also looking for those other experiences. Going out and seeing what's in Wyoming and doing this cow elk hunt if I draw it, which, like I said, I probably won't. And then looking for other opportunities. Maybe go back for that antelope, get some redemption on the antelope if I don't draw the elk. But it's fun. I enjoy it. And the meat, man. Like, Sitka blacktail is unbelievably just great meat. If you get that alpine buck, man, it's so hard to beat. But, man, Abby brought up some elk when she was up here last month. Or, actually, it's still this month, but a couple weeks ago. And we had elk burgers, and we had elk tenderloin. And it was phenomenal. It's absolutely out of this world. People talk about elk being the best meat. People in Southeast Alaska talking about Sitka blacktail being the best meat. But you really can't go wrong. If I were pressed to make a decision I had right now, which would I prefer, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, they're both unbelievable. But, man, elk is so, so good. And you get so much of it. So she brought some up, and we were just going through. We had shepherd's pie, and then we had burgers, and we had tenderloin. It was just so unbelievably good. So I'm really hoping that I draw that cow tag, because it's like $600 cheaper than the bull tag. And then you still get a ton of meat. And I'm going to spend probably a small fortune getting it home, but probably split it with Abby. But she'll probably get her own massive bull again. So that's what's on the brain, man. And I did not sleep real well last night thinking about elk. But I was talking to my students today about, having a job, and then what are you doing during the summer? Because there was a job fair at school today, and I said that I don't have jobs during the summer. I like doing the freelance gig and writing, but that it's still fun, so it doesn't really feel like a job. But the better that you approach, or the better that you show up to work, the better off work is going to be. If you have a life, then that just makes work and everything else that much better. It doesn't make it tolerable. It makes it better because you show up, you've taken care of yourself, and you're in a good mental state when you show up to school or work. If work is your only thing, what are you doing outside of work? There's still a ton of hours. My buddy Danny did a podcast on the gas station cappuccino, and he was talking about being disciplined enough to say no in certain areas and to organize your life in such a way where you can do these things and not worry about other things, and you become much more efficient at your schedule. And so in the winter up here in Alaska, you definitely got to be efficient with your time because there's not a whole lot of daylight, and you want to be productive. But those hours away from your job, man, those are the real hours. Are you recharging the batteries or are you not? And that's again, for no kids living up here, Alaska guy, it sounds like a lot easier. And so you can say, well, what about this? And I don't know, but I know plenty of people who have kids and who are married, and they still make it work. And that's the thing. The better off you are, the more efficient you are with your time, and the happier you are living your life. You got to get after it, and you got to do it. As Cody Rich said, you got to spend money on experiences, not gear. And I've been really trying to do that. But gosh dang, there's some great stuff coming out. Some stuff that I don't necessarily need, but if I could definitely convince myself that I could use some of that new Stone Glacier stuff that's coming out there. That's hard to resist this time of year, especially when it's the dead hours. This is kind of the shopping season, but I got to shop for tags, and I got to put the money there, and then not buy anything else. That said, heading down to California in March for spring break. You're gonna do some fly fishing down there. It's gonna be so much fun. Great experience. It's been a couple of years. Been asked to be on those old waters again, so looking forward to that. But we'll call that episode 127. Make sure you check out the mediocrealaskan.com. Check out Sit News. Check out the Juneau Empire every other week for my column in there. And then the Salmon and Steelhead Journal. Got a piece in there coming up. So there you go. We'll talk to you next time.